You are listening to the Community Wealth Builders All Access podcast. The production team are Angel Moore and Georgia Sutherland. I'm Yve Robinson, and welcome to the show. Well, I think that you is this the first time you've done a podcast?
Absolutely.
Right, okay. Well, there's no need to be nervous because we all know what we're doing, and all you've got to do is talk about the thing that you know. So that's great. So before I start, though, obviously talking about the actual thing that you've come to talk about, I just need to know a little bit about you, because I always want to know what it is that guides people to where they end up.
Okay. A bit about me. So I'm a 30-year-old dad of 2 daughters, and by day I'm a primary school teacher, and then evenings and weekends I run Friends of Clay Lane. So I'm very busy all the time. I think sort of what guided me towards starting it was around the kids. I've always been very child focused. That's what I did my degree in, was primary education studies, and I think it's really important to give kids a voice and give them opportunities. And we have a lot of issues on our estate, and I felt like it was really important to get the voice of everyone in the community and figure out how we can tackle them together and give ourselves a voice and put Clay Lane on the map.
Yeah. For those that don't know, Clay Lane, that's in between Wheatley and...
Yeah, so not many will know it. It's between Wheatley and Edenthorpe. Yeah. It is a bit of a no man's land in between. Yeah. So it's a small estate. It's got a population of about 1,000 people. It's a 50-50 split of children and adults, but it's an extremely poor estate.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, obviously I'm an older person, and Doncaster used to have a Rockware and all those kind of places, and the people that lived there worked there, so they formed a community.
Yes.
When you don't have that, it's like when the pits are closed. When you don't have that community feeling, communities do break down, don't they?
Absolutely. Well, the houses were originally for the glass workers at Rockware, and obviously, as with a lot of industries in the UK, as things have died down, you're sort of left with the remains of that, and then generations of families that have not had that steady income. Mm-hmm. So it's trying to rebuild and look at, how do we move forward in this new world? How do we navigate that?
Yeah. And so it was your idea?
It was myself and my friend Dan Barwell. Between the two of us, we started it. It was June 2023. And it was actually on the back of, we've got one community space on the estate. We've got a little play park, and he'd organised for us to paint it. And we went, and I remember there was a child that didn't know how to use a paintbrush, and I was helping them and showing them for the first time how to actually paint. And we repainted all the equipment, and it was just such a nice feeling that I've never had before around like really putting something back to the community, not for any other gain other than just to do some good. Yeah. And the other people there really felt the same.
Is that the Shackleton Road?
The Shackleton Road Park, yeah. And sort of since then, me and Dan got together, we snowballed a few ideas and names. It was going to be the Clay Lane Residents Association in the early days, and then we settled on Friends of Clay Lane. And since then, it has just grown beyond my imagination of what we've achieved, how much we've raised, and sort of how well known Clay Lane is, and more importantly as well, how we've managed to change perceptions. Yeah. Because we did not, if you would have spoke to anyone sort of 3-4 years ago, said Clay Lane, it did have quite a poor reputation. Yeah. And I really do feel with the many Doncaster Free Press articles we're now in, smiling with volunteers and high vises and lists, I really feel like when you mention Clay Lane, people think of Friends of Clay Lane, they think of a strong community.
They think it's more a progressive place, that's a community that's building, rather than, oh, don't go there.
Yeah. It used to be antisocial behaviour, don't go there, it's rough. And I really do feel like we've changed the tide in terms of people's perceptions and kids getting more involved in the community and looking towards other role models and other avenues for entertainment as well.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, once a community starts to care, it's amazing how the trajectory just goes, doesn't it? It's being that, like you and your friend, the person who starts it off.
Yeah. It just and that's what anybody that's listening or watching, I really want them to take from it, is like, I am just a normal person. I had no prior connections to the council or anything else or any knowledge around this. I've made many errors along the way. But we've managed to impact so many lives just by forming a little group, creating a Facebook page, creating an official community group with all our documents, a bank account and everything, and it just snowballs and snowballs and snowballs, and you meet one person that knows this person that can speak to this, that can open a door here.
Yes,
and
there's a lot of networking going on. But that initial thing, when you decided to start, it must have been difficult to know where to go.
Yeah.
Is that where the community wealth builders come in?
Yeah, so in the start, being honest, we was finding that we had a lot of doors shut. So we had lots of ideas. We put down our sort of a few plans. Like we've got our number one goal that we'd love to do one day is we've got an old abandoned pub. It's been sat abandoned for 16 years.
Oh, is that the Working Men's Club?
Yes.
Yep, right.
It used to be a community hub.
Yep.
But obviously, again, with British Industries, everything else, it's a died out industry. You know.
I mean, the north of England was full of clubs. And my dad used to be a singer. And, you know, when it was sort of like holiday times, he'd be booked in Doncaster, and there were just so many.
Yeah.
You know, but we don't have that kind of industry that feeds that kind of, you know, and things change as well, don't they?
I think culturally as well, people don't go out and drink.
No, in the same way.
And if they do, it's usually at home. But like in the sort of 70s in its peak, there would literally be a queue of people down the entire street where it is Shackleton Road. Yeah. And it's sad to see it because now it's been set on fire several times. It's covered in smashed glass, and we'd love to either level it, rebuild it, put a football pitch on it, have an allotment. We've got numerous ideas. But in the beginning, when we was firing off emails, we didn't know who to talk to. And when we was ringing people, we didn't know who to ring. And when we was trying to get things done, we didn't really have the either authority, power, voice, whatever it was.
The expertise that you need in that field, yeah.
Whereas Community Wealth Builder, Doncaster sort of in general, they were able to sit down with us and really go through, right, this is the problem you want to fix. That's who you need to speak to. Because half the time we was ringing Doncaster Council for something that was relevant to St Ledger Homes. Yeah. And it's not knowing who to speak to in what department and who owns what, and they really helped us navigate that. And in terms of funding, I mean, our first ever grant was £500 and it was for sports equipment. And we did our first ever event. It was like a Clay Lane Olympics.
I do remember seeing something on Facebook about that. Yes, yeah.
And we used that money and we got all the children of the estate together. So the first time this has ever happened, and we've got 10 different road names. And so we put all the kids into a bit like houses, like Slytherin and Gryffindor. Yeah. So they all had their individual street names. They was all doing races and tug of war and like proper old-fashioned British, like, you know, potato sacks and everything. Like
egg and spoon.
Egg and spoon. And we just had a brilliant day, and there was no animosities. Kids that sometimes fall out, streets that don't really always get along, just came together and just like enjoyed themselves. There was, and you know, we've got elderly people on the estate, and they said like it's the first time they'd seen some neighbours in decades, because it was an excuse to get out of the house.
Yes, yeah.
And usually,
and a safe excuse.
Yes,
that's the thing. If you've got, but as the community gets safer, more people do come out, don't they?
Exactly, and a lot do fear sort of antisocial behaviour and even just kids on bikes. You know, I've had people say to me, you know, there's kids outside my house playing ball. Can you do something about it? And I'm like, but it's your perception. Yeah. They're on the street playing curvy. Yeah. That doesn't need to intimidate you. No. If they're throwing the ball at your window and shouting at you, fair enough. Yeah. You know, we can have a word. But
I think very often as you get older, you know, I mean, you know, I'm an older person. You sort of forget that, you know, we used to go out on our bikes and be out, you know, my mother never used to know where we were all day, you know, and we might have been on the street or whatever, you know, and you forget that young people, that they sometimes just stop to have a chat outside your house for no other reason than they just want to have a chat. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Well, what's great about these events is those adults that would normally be looking sort of through the windows, they've got the opportunity to meet these children in a safe space and help them, volunteer, really get to know them and build those relationships so that they're not a scary bunch of teenagers on bikes. Yeah. It's like, oh, I know that lad from down the road. Yeah. Like, he's just out on his bikes, he's bored, and he wants something to do.
And he also knows that he knows that person. That connection is very important as well. Exactly. You know, because I think very often we, the way life is now, we're in little pockets. You know, there's the older people. It's great when you get a vast age group.
Definitely, and it's important for the young people to know who they can turn to, and you know we want to do more skill share. We'd love to have our own premises. That's something that we do lack. We don't have any physical space.
Right.
Once that does happen, because it will, because
Yeah.
I'm manifesting from 2023, I couldn't imagine where we are now.
No, yeah.
That will happen in the future. Don't know how yet, but I'm going to make it happen. But once we do, I'd like to do more of sort of, you know, if we've got someone that's retired on the estate that is a retired plasterer or a retired woodworker, let's say, can you spare 1 hour a month to put on a woodworking class?
Yeah.
You have got an abundance of time at the moment. It would give you a sense of purpose, sense of belonging.
Pass on your skill.
Pass on those skills, okay? Or like myself, my background before teaching was in IT. You know, I would anyway. I'd quite happily put on, you know, basic computer skills workshop, programming, whatever it might be. You know, people around the estate being able to give an hour of their time once a month, which I think could be valuable.
So the premises is really quite important to you. So, you know, like, I suppose people like Kelly, they can push you towards where the funding might be, because funding isn't always easy, is it?
No, and at the start, trying to fill out one of those grant applications, we had many rejections because I didn't know what I was doing.
No.
And ultimately, for anyone that's listening that's considering starting a group, is a lot of these funding applications are trying to meet certain criteria, whether that be to improve mental health, to improve physical health, or to improve the environment.
Yeah.
I didn't realise this and clearly wasn't reading them, so I would just put on what I wanted, but I didn't explain the why. And I didn't explain how it would meet their criteria.
Yeah.
So that's what people like Kelly at Doncaster and New Secure Community Wealth Builder, they helped us understand, right, you've got the ingredients, but you're just not selling it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not making it. So when they get your grant and you want X amount of £1,000, this is why, this is how it meets your criteria for what you're looking to achieve. We've got to share aligned goals together. And that's the bit that I want making the link to.
And that's where having the backup of the council, you know, through Doncaster, because the one thing I want to say is that very often people deride Doncaster Council, but it's good to have that backing. When you have an idea is nothing unless somebody can help you facilitate it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the council get a lot of stick, and it's really, really easy to berate the council. But in my experience, my personal Doncaster Council reporting page is through I must have set a world record by this point, but every single time I report a pothole or a street light that's out, they are there within the week and it's fixed.
Yeah.
Like, I can absolutely tip my hat to that.
Yeah.
And what I found was a lot of people, we've got like a local, as many communities do, like a local community Facebook page.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will go on and complain about X, Y, and Z. And I will send them the link and say, report, this is the proper channel. And I think a lot of people don't either understand or want to report directly to actually get the problem fixed.
Yeah. I
almost feel like sometimes people just enjoy the moan.
Yes, yeah.
And actually...
Yeah, that's the side of social media, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I love it. My family come from a very small island in the Caribbean, which has a volcano. So not a lot of people live there. A lot of people have gone all over the world. Facebook for me is the perfect place because I can keep in touch with all those people.
Yeah.
But there's always a negative side to everything. And there are people who really do just go on there just to moan.
Yeah. And, you know, there are definitely many things the council could improve on, and they haven't fixed every single of our issues, especially our bigger ones. But overall, you know, I know that they do try and meet what we're looking to achieve as an estate. And it's definitely helped us having almost now that we've got much more of a bigger voice, I almost feel like we can't be ignored.
Yes,
because we are in the free press.
That's the thing. The thing about a community is, if you've got a community and you've got a voice, that's what you need.
Yeah.
And that's how a lot of these smaller villages that, when they had a pit around them, they were a community who had a voice. And then when one of you works here and that one of you hasn't got a job, you don't have that coherence, and you're giving them back that.
Yeah.
You know, by just being, really.
But yeah, I think it's it's really important. You know, we've handed out food parcels to particularly elderly residents at Christmas time. We've made Christmas dinners for people that don't have family, that are sat alone at Christmas. And we're really sort of trying to, even now we've got the junior clay laners, so we're trying to recruit younger volunteers.
That's always a good thing, because the thing is that, you know, you need longevity of something like this to keep the community together, don't they? Even if they move away, they'll always have that little bit of, I was a friend of that, you know, yeah.
And that's what we're trying to instill. You know, even with my own daughters, you know, they're forever helping, as much as they might not want to get up early in the morning and move loads of stuff to set up gazebos, etc. But we're trying to instill that sort of sense of belonging, sense of caring for the community. If you walk past a piece of litter on Clay Lane, pick it up even if it's not yours.
Yeah.
Even if no one's watching.
Yeah.
You won't always get a medal or a badge,
No.
but you just do it because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I wrote a little short story for my kids, and it was that what you didn't realise, that every piece of litter that you didn't pick up would stick to you.
Okay.
And it was this story, and it was like, what's that? So heavy, you know.
Yeah.
And they loved it. And my kids, I must say, I'm in the grown up now, they don't drop litter.
Yeah, it's a good habit to instill.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So your girls helped you with your recent thing. You had didn't you have your summer gala?
Yes. We had a summer gala last weekend, and we estimated about 350 people, and we had bouncy castles, we had an abundance of stalls selling all sorts, and the goal was to raise money. We then roll it into our next event.
Yeah.
So what we did with this summer gala was we managed from our previous event to have enough money where it's free of charge. So we had a wristband, and if they lived on the estate, a child could come to our event and they could go on the bouncy castles, get an ice cream, get a drink, get a hot dog. It didn't cost a penny. And
that reminds me, you probably don't remember, but you know, like in the old days when there was like pit communities or church communities, you went on a trip and they gave you some you know, so it's a bit like that, but you're stationary, you know. That's fantastic. I love that.
Well, the idea is well, as well, people that weren't from the estate, we charged them £5 for the same wristband, because we're actually in the top 10% of most deprived areas in the UK. Yeah. But surrounding us, we've got Edenthorpe and Kirkshandel, which are quite wealthier areas overall. So we get a lot of people from those higher income areas who come and spend money, and then we can distribute that across. So that's the goal: is we sort of get those that can pay will pay, and those that either have a low income or etc. We can put it on free. But like we got funding from the YHA, the Youth Hostels Association. And we took the whole estate, we've done this twice now, on an all expenses paid 2-day holiday in the Peak District.
Wow.
So we hired some coaches and we had 80 families in total, both times.
That is incredible.
It was,
don't gloss over that. That is absolutely incredible.
We had children that had never left Doncaster, and they were exploring caves. They were learning to abseil. They was learning how to make fires in a safe manner. They was learning all sorts of sort of life skills and outdoor. We did hiking and stuff like that. It was really, really good for like mental health and also for physical and just learning some life skills. And it just brought everyone together. We had the entire. It was called Youth Hostels Association Edale. It's a huge building. Yeah. We had the whole building to ourselves. Wow. So. I took our speaker.
I remember going there with church.
Oh, you've been before?
A long time ago.
So
Gosh.
nice. It's and we had a disco, and we like played bingo on the night time. We had a little microphone and a speaker, and we've really just realised that just the smallest thing can make an impact like that. Because then from there, you know, people have formed WhatsApp groups, people have formed friendships lifelong now from spending that time together, and we purposely didn't keep because it's such a small estate, everybody knows everybody, and when we was picking the rooms, because a lot of them were sharing rooms and like activity groups, we purposely split people up that were friends to force them to do an activity,
engage with other people,
with a family they didn't know, and then that formed. Then, you know, when you spend 2 days hiking or cave exploring with someone, you get to know them. Yes. You know, when you're having to hold hands with a stranger,
having to rely on them sometimes,
and rely on them to pull you up, you know, through something quite dangerous. you know, it helps them to bond, and it did. So
I think if you'd only done that, that would have been a wonderful thing to have done. I'm so in awe of you for doing that. I think it's wonderful, really.
And do you know what? All that was on the back of an email.
Yeah.
And this is my mantra of anybody wanting to do this. Don't ask, you don't get. We emailed.
If you don't ask, the answer's always no.
Yeah. we emailed the Youth Hostels Association. We pitched what we do. We pitched our idea, and we said if you've got any spare funding, we'd love it. And they just got back and said, actually, we have 2 days in December. It's really short notice, but if you can gather the troops, you can have it totally free of charge. Yeah. And we put out a call and was like, guys, let's go on. Let's bring the whole estate. We'll book a coach. Let's do this. And it was really successful. And then they had it again in February, so they're like off-peak seasons.
Yeah, yeah.
And there was like, we need to spend this before the end of the tax year, so it benefited them, benefited us, and that was off the back of an email. So that's 160 families in total that have had this amazing experience totally free of charge.
That's incredible.
Off the back of an email. And now we've got that relationship, and they've said, you know, next time this happens again, you'll be first to know, because we can't often mobilise that many people at once at such short notice either. But now we've got that relationship, and that's a strong one. Yeah. So that, you know, I want to keep building on those. Yeah. So
fantastic idea. I really am in awe of that. I think it's wonderful. And so your next project, really, in the back of your mind, must be how you get funding for that building.
Yeah. So at the moment, the club itself is owned by a private landowner,
right?
Who nobody can get in contact with, and it's a sort of a running joke in the community, because the council have tried, we've tried, nobody knows where this man has gone. We've bought the land registry rights, and we've really, really tried to, figure out how we can tackle this. But we found out the land behind it is actually owned by the council. Yeah. Because I spend too much time looking at the land registry. I really need to get a new hobby. But
well, I think you should. If that's how you relax, that's okay. Yeah. You do a lot.
So our focus at the minute in the short term is the land behind it, because that is council owned, so we can work with them on that. But at the moment, that when I say there's some things that are negative, that's one of them. We've been in touch with their solicitors, etc., and they've confirmed it's theirs, but we're past a year from that point now, and we want the land cleared, and they've agreed to do it. Yeah. But that was over a year ago, and we're sort of snowballing. And I think, and to be fair, it's money.
Yes, and that's what it usually is, isn't it? Yeah.
So obviously we're still working with them, but when it comes to the bigger projects and it's going to need some money, that's where it sort of does slow down.
Yes, yeah.
But in the end, once that happens, the ideal thing, we would like to reuse the land as an allotments. Yeah. So that we have the kids of the estate managing, and we've got a few of the older residents of the estate that are into gardening who have said that they will sort of open up, they'll manage it, and they will teach the younger ones how to maintain the veg. And then we've also got funding for a community pantry. So it's just a big wooden box that opens up, and the goal is that we grow the veg, we can put it in there, you can pick it out for free. Yeah. So because Clay Lane is very unique, if you think of like an old-fashioned estate where like if you need a bag of sugar, you can go to your neighbour's house. Yeah. It is like that.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I'm always in and out of my neighbours' houses. We've all got keys to each other's houses. We all look after dogs when we're away, and it is really old-fashioned. Yeah. So like if you run out of stuff, you will just go ask someone. Everyone's got, people.
It's nice when you have that community. I live on the road in Bessica, and I always say it's like living in the 1950s because everybody's friendly, everybody looks out. It's like they're not nosy, but they do look out for you. Yeah, yeah. It's a nice feeling when you've got community.
Definitely, and I think that it's good for mental health. I think it's really, really important. I think that is a contributing factor. I look far too much at psychology as well. I know we're not on this, but I think that's a massive factor.
Yeah, it's a big thing, because I was sort of saying to somebody else I was talking to recently that when we had COVID, which had loads of negative things, one of the things that I think that came out of it that's kind of in a way good is we started talking about mental health again. We realised that isolation is a terrible thing, and that even though some people say, I can't stand people, we all need people, and to be able to get back a community, is a great feeling. And like you say, if somebody's frightened because they think, there's kids outside, to realise that the kids that live on your estate, they're not really bad kids. They're just outside.
And to be honest, the best thing you can do if you genuinely are scared about kids outside your house, just go out and say morning.
Yeah.
Because if you put a voice and
A face to the voice.
you become humanised.
Yeah.
When children don't know you either, and they might want to test the boundaries.
Yeah.
Whereas if you come out and you're absolutely, I've had many balls kicked into my garden, and I will come out and I'll help them get it out, and I'll be absolutely fine. But if you go out shouting and screaming, unfortunately,
they'll just keep picking on you.
They'll try and wind you up, because they want the reaction.
Yeah.
If you go out and you treat others how you want to be treated. Obviously, not in all cases.
No. I mean, you get good and bad in all communities, everywhere, and even though that's a poor community, doesn't make it any different from anywhere else.
But generally, if you're fine with the children and you work with them, then they'll generally give you that same respect back.
Yeah. And it must be very uplifting for you to see that this is gelling and working.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many times that things have happened where I've had no involvement, and things will just happen in the background on other people getting together.
Yeah.
We've got other volunteers that will organise litter picks or have contacted the council and got other things done that I've not even known about, and they want to surprise me. And it's really nice to have inspired potentially a new generation and our current generation, because when I'm gone, I still want Friends of Clay Lane to be running.
Yeah. Well, I think your daughters, I mean, when you said that they were putting up the gazebos, I thought, I bet you they had to get the summer gala ready, didn't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We've actually just got 2 20-foot shipping containers, as you do. So we never did. Friends of Clay Lane has existed in my Wendy house and loft, and our other volunteers, their sheds, garages, all our equipment. But now we've got these containers, we have a physical space to store things. Yeah. So it's made it much easier.
Where did you get the containers? Because you could do like they do, where they make actual houses. You could make your.
Do you know what?
We've
I'm considered
just
this.
Spitballing you.
Let's have a community coffee morning in the container.
Yes.
Well, as well, the rationale for the containers was because we flood.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we managed to work with the council, and we got a load of. So we had these containers crane lifted in by a lorry, and then we had loads of JCBs come and give us a load of sandbags. And honestly, when I think back to June 2023, and like I see all these huge like machinery coming down the estate, and I think.
Yeah. You caused that.
We did all this, and I think I'm just like a nobody. How have we had the power and now the funds to bring all this together? And now we have this container that's filled to the brim with sandbags, and we've actually got an off-road pump truck in the container, and we could deploy that. We can go out and deliver them the minute we flood. But even in addition to that, we had a meeting with Doncaster Council. They invited us, the sort of top ones there at the main council building. And they said we've been awarded a £1 million flood defence contract for the whole estate. And because we'd been pushing in the background, we'd been talking about it and been making waves in Free Press and etc. And then we worked with them, and now in collaboration with their drainage team, right now as we speak, our estate is basically being ripped up because there are tons of lorries on there that are building this sustainable drainage system. Wow. And I'm like, this has been a problem for
generations.
Yeah. We have always flooded.
Yeah.
There are BBC News reports in 2007 of our estate basically near enough underwater. Some houses, people was trapped upstairs. It was bad. And now all of a sudden, there's all this heavy machinery moving around, and people are saying, Alex, what is going on? I'm like, oh, we're getting it sorted. This is it. Yeah. And
that is a major thing. If you live in an area that floods, to think that something's being done by the council and by your initiative, that is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely can't take full credit.
No, I know, but
we definitely pushed it along.
Yeah. The spark came.
Yeah. So but that's what it takes is because obviously she is in the making all this, the design, the planning, and it's sort of that working with the community to say this is what we would like. We've had a look at the plans and was like, we don't think that'll work, but this might, etc. And it's being open-minded to to the council, to St Ledger, to anybody that has that authority of your community, and saying this is what we'd like. Okay, we can't do that, but what's the compromise? Or you know, what can we do?
And also just signposting that it needs doing.
Yeah.
You know, because the thing is, the councils, you know, I mean, I used to work for Doncaster Council, you know, many years ago, and I am a champion of them because I do think they do so many good things, and people try to berate them all the time. Anytime anything's wrong, if a building's been knocked down, it's always the council's fault. They don't even own it sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, the council should have done something about that, you know. But the thing is that if you signpost it to them, then it highlights it, you keep it in mind, and then something will get done.
Well, this, I always imagine people, or is to think nobody from the council has the time and or money to walk around all of Doncaster and inspect every road and inspect every grass verge.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to do that.
No.
Sometimes you just have to do it for yourself, and you have to be that person that highlights it and says, look, this is my issue. You know, when you live in an area and outside your house there's a pothole, and every day it annoys you because you can't fix it.
Yeah.
There's no point just getting angry in your car every morning.
No.
Let somebody know that can fix it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the sort of change that I would like to inspire more around Doncaster and around the UK of, you know, just go through the proper channels.
Yeah. Less blame, find a solution.
Yeah, there's no point in just getting mad about things, you know. It's you know, you have to take some action and some, you know, some responsibility, and yeah, if you've not done anything about it, then that's why it's still there.
If you're just moaning, you know, because sometimes, like you say, how would they know? They can't walk around everywhere, like you said, you know, that's amazing. Yeah, and you've done all sorts of things in the past. You've had picnic in the park and that kind of thing. And do those things work for you? Do they generate not just money, but also interest in your... Do you get volunteers? And you know?
Yeah, so on the back of it, we have our 4 main events, which are our summer gala, our Halloween street party, our Christmas grotto, and our Easter egg hunt. They're our big events where we would get our bulk of our funds for the year. But throughout the year, we do have some smaller ones, like our picnic in the park, that we don't put... There's no money to be made. There's no raffle. It's just bring some picnic blankets and let's have a picnic. Yeah. Or we did a Mother's Day one, similar setup.
Didn't you have a scarecrow thing?
Oh, do you know, I forget. We've done that much. I should have brought a list with me. Yeah, we also had a scarecrow event. Again, raised no money, but it was just for fun.
It's good fun, isn't it?
And we told everyone, just create your own scarecrows. And they did. And I think we had 46, if I remember right.
Wow.
Now, which, considering we've got 356 houses on the estate, I would say that's not too bad going.
Incredible, really.
But, you know... So yeah, and we went round and we judged it, and we took loads of pictures, and kids were out on the bikes. They wanted to see the scarecrows. They're taking pictures with them. It got neighbours talking. It got children working with adults, and people were working together to create these scarecrows. And again, it's just a lovely thing to do because it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And I think that life is so busy. You know, to have one parent just work and one at home with the kids is basically non-existent.
Yes.
You know, both parents are usually working, they're busy, and there's not enough fun in life. There's definitely not enough time to just, you know, have life for leisure time, and not, you know, the minute your kids have finished school and it's right, you're on swimming lessons, dance lessons, taekwondo.
Have you done your homework?
Have you done your homework? And it's just trying to have more. Obviously, we can't change people's schedules.
No, but sometimes, especially I find, children are under so much pressure, you know, that to have something that is just for fun, just come along and have fun. So your Halloween thing, I think you said that was the 1st of November.
1st of November this year, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So everybody already had their trick or treat, and then
yeah.
And so what does it entail?
So we close off Shackleton Road, thanks to the council, who actually let us do it all for free as well, which is great of them because it's for a community. Yeah. So we get all the cones and the road closed off, and we have last year, if I remember right, it was about 300 odd people came. And again, going back to the council, we had Ros Jones there. We've got many pictures of her and the other councillors sort of stood outside mine, and we're you know, she's trying to give us advice about what we can and can't, and what she does like, and we've got that relationship now, which again, unthinkable 2 years ago. Yeah. Like, you know, that we're texting the mayor and stuff about flood defences and also we've grown to have that voice now. Yeah. So again, hats off to him. But yeah, we have a street party, we have loads of gazebos, we have an entertainer, we sell raffle tickets and we sell hot dogs to try and fund money to then roll into our next event or whatever crazy project or scheme we might come up. My next one, which I've not announced yet, but it's going to be coming up soon, we've got permission to install 20-foot goalposts, and we've got an area at the back of our estate called the Bankings, and it's just a green strip of land. There's nothing on it, and there I've got permission. I've actually leased half the land now. I've gone full scale with this. So half the land is now leased in my name, and we are putting these 20-foot goalposts in, and I've now got enough funding from the VCFS work I'm doing to buy everybody footballs, all the kids' footballs. Yeah. And we're going to have a massive day where we kick off and we'll get like a football coach in, and we'll have a space, a safe space away from everybody's windows for the kids to play football.
Oh, that sounds great.
So that's the sort of stuff that when people do donate.
You might have an aspiring, young lioness or lion there then.
Who knows?
Who knows?
That'd be great. But if you don't give them the chance,
exactly.
you don't give them the space and the opportunity.
Right, you just hit on something, the VCFS, and I'm trying to look it up. Explain what that is, please.
It's quite a new thing, so there's not. We're working on the publicity. So the VCFS stands for the Voluntary Community Faith Sector, and essentially we're a group of 8 people that we either all run a community group or are involved in some community group. We was voted in, and what we're essentially aiming to do is bridge the gap between community groups like Friends of Clay Lane, mine here, and general communities, and then towards the council or funders. So people, for example, we've got Friends of Wheatley that's just started. Yeah. My friend again, Dan, he's helped create that. So we can signpost them and say, look, you're struggling with getting this funding, you're struggling with that permission, this is how we did it. Yeah. Or you want to put on your first event, I've got 12 gazebos sat in a storage container, you can have them. Yeah. Borrow them for the weekend. Or we've got we can now work together, and what we're trying to do as is sort of build a central place where other people that want to start community groups or are in a community know who to go to for funding, for permissions, for just general advice, and a support network to bridge that gap, because there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of paperwork, and there's a lot of the ICB and all these big organisations, are faceless, some of them, that you think, who is that? And we're there to sort of explain it in plain English and say, this is who you would go to for this and for that. So we are sort of part of Doncaster. They're the ones that are funding the project. Yeah. And we're really trying to spearhead more. If we had Friends of Everyone all around Doncaster, that would be great. That'd be good, because you're having your event in August, so you can borrow this. And then and do you know, I got in touch with this person and they did that. We do it all. Even at our gala, we had a particular stall holder that didn't show. And because we know someone that knows someone else that's done an event, they managed to ended up being like a food stall, and they managed to get someone there within 20 minutes. Yeah. Because they knew a guy that knew a guy, and it's knowing. I've realised in all this, it is about who you know. Yeah, community and network. It's all about that. So if we can put that network together, and we can inspire others. I've had people in intake say, I've seen what you've done in Clay Lane. How do I get started? Because I love the idea of creating this and fixing these issues, and that's what I want. Is what you need is there anybody famous ever lived in that area? Yes. And you could get them to, Yeah, that is a very good point. Yeah. We need to hit the big time. Yeah. Get them to be a friend, Well, that's the thing, is we know, even with all the stuff that we've done, we're still very small scale. And like I say, next we'd like to apply for charitable status as well, and then eventually have a premises, and I'd love to do a youth club. I'd love to have a physical space with pool tables or computers or whatever it might be, where the kids can go in the evening or in the daytime when people are at work. Retired people can come for a coffee and come for a knit and natter, crochet, or whatever it may end up becoming. Yeah. That is just a space for the community. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I have to say, I really do think it's awesome what you've done. You've done a really
magical thing, really. That holiday thing, it's just still in my head. I'm just, thinking about it. It's fantastic. And so, like you were saying, you've got Halloween coming up on the 1st of November. And you do something at Christmas as well?
Yeah, so we do a Christmas grotto as well. So we've got like a huge inflatable arch with Santas on and all sorts. And we book out in Kirksandall, we book out a hall on Denton's Green Lane, and we do sort of raffle prizes, and we have Santa comes in his grotto and meets the children, gives out presents. We actually got funding from Stronger Communities. They give us Christmas presents for this year. Yeah. But we definitely couldn't do any of it. It's not just me either. So our events manager is Donna Jones. She runs all of our events, often single-handedly, and organises it, and has got sort of the contacts for that. So in total, there's 8 volunteers. Yeah. And our sort of board, it's myself, Dan, Donna, and my wife Sophie. And between the 4 of us mainly, and our extra volunteers that help at our events, we use our skills to our advantages. Yeah. They always put me to talk to the council because they're like, they call me the posh one. I'm definitely not. But they're like...
posh from Clay Lane, that sounds nice.
I know. Well, I'm from Scunthorpe originally, so even worse. But they say I'm a bit more political doing speaking. So they put me to that. Dan sorts our money, Donna sorts our events, and Sophie, my wife, she's really good at, we do our gardening stuff or organising things and just bringing things together. So we work well as a team. Yeah. But we have a grotto, and we sort of have Santa come, and we just have, and we have lots of stall holders that come from around Doncaster. Yeah. We only charge them a nominal fee for a pitch. It's usually like £5 or £10 depending. But it means that small businesses as well, we've built up some great relations with ones that sell wax melts or sweets or knitted things that they make, that they're able to come and make some money and make an actual profit on the back of our events, which is great that we can do that. Yeah. And again, it's mind-blowing to think that we've got that platform that now we can actually even help small businesses in the local area and give them a platform.
That's it. You're rebuilding a community that was there.
Literally there was nothing. There was nothing at all. And people always say with a forgotten estate, that's was our branding because we are wedged in between. And we're classed as weekly intake, but we are sort of, one day, if I can make it happen, we'll have our own parish council. We'll be our own area, but we'll see. So.
Oh, well, it really has, I have to say, it really has been lovely speaking to you. Alex, I think you've done a fantastic job, you and the whole board and everything. And I think also, obviously, as you said, Doncaster have helped you and the council and everything. And I just see you going from strength to strength. And I see you getting an award someday, because honestly, to have these ideas and keep pushing and doing it, when you, like you say you're a school teacher. What school do you teach at?
It's going to be at Hatfield Travis from September.
Oh, right.
So I've just moved. I was at Kirksandall. But so I teach primary school, and actually lower down I'm teaching nursery from this year. And that would be how I can pitch it to anyone, is if I can manage it as a full-time teacher and make all this happen.
And you've got a family, you've got your girls and everything. How old are your girls?
14 and 8.
Oh, right.
So,
give them a shout out.
Yeah, Ava and Yve.
Who helped out, that's really good.
Who helped out with the gala. Well, that's the thing is, the good thing for me is, because it's so family orientated, it's not a hindrance.
No, it's part of your family life, isn't it, that you do this?
Everything that we do, the kids can be involved in. So it's not like dad's having to go out for hours and hours and hours and sort Friends of Clay Lane. It's, you can come help and we'll work together. And at the end, there might even be an ice cream in it for you or whatever. You know what I mean? We can work as a whole family on each project, so it's not taking any time away. And if anything, it enhances our family life.
Yes, it does, because you're spending time with them and they're watching you and you're watching them. And it's all good stuff. Well, like I say, it's been lovely, and the time has just flown by, hasn't it?
It has.
And so your next event in Halloween.
Yes.
What are you going to dress up?
I'll leave it with you. Yeah, right. You'll have to leave that one with me. I've not decided yet.
All right. Thanks very much. I've really enjoyed speaking to you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for listening to the Community Wealth Builders All Access podcast. Today's guest details can be found in the bio.